Are you tired of setting goals that always seem out of reach? You know the drill. Create a list, dream big, and then watch as the motivation fizzles out before you even get close to the finish line. But what if I told you that the problem isn't with your goals, but with the way you're going about achieving them? That the typical advice we hear about goal setting, dream big, hustle harder, grind it out, might actually be setting you up for failure. Yes, it's controversial, but it's the truth. In today's video, I'm going to show you a different way, a pragmatic approach to goal setting that actually works. We're going to throw away the fluffy, feel-good advice and get down to real, actionable steps that you can use today. This isn't about wishful thinking or blind optimism. This is about setting goals that align with who you are and where you're going. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a plan in place to actually achieve your goals. And trust me, it's going to feel a lot more achievable than you think. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into the pragmatic guide to goal setting and achievement. Number 1. The fail fast, fail smart strategy. You've probably heard it before. Failure is part of success, but here's the truth, you've been doing it wrong. What if I told you that failing faster could actually be the secret to your success? Yes, I'm serious. In fact, it's the kind of approach that could revolutionize your productivity. Now you might be thinking, hold up, aren't we supposed to avoid failure? Trust me on this, failing quickly is the quickest way to learn, grow, and move forward. But before you roll your eyes, let me explain. We've all been there, right? You start a project and you spend weeks, maybe months, building it up, tweaking, planning, and hoping everything falls into place, only for it to flop, or worse, not even get the attention you expected. And the worst part, you wasted all that time hoping to get it just right. What if you didn't have to spend all that time getting everything perfect first? What if you could get results faster by embracing failure rather than running from it? The fail fast, fail smart strategy flips the traditional fear of failure on its head. It's not about failing in a reckless or careless way, but rather about intentionally setting yourself up for smaller, smarter failures that push you closer to success. Instead of obsessing over perfection, try this. Launch your idea, fail early, get feedback, and improve. Repeat. The quicker you fail, the faster you learn. This is the essence of the fail fast, fail smart strategy. I know. This probably sounds like a risky or even passive-aggressive move, like a quick cop-out to avoid putting in the work. But let me tell you, I've been there. I used to overthink everything, spending months drafting, perfecting, and tweaking my projects before showing anyone. I remember a time when I worked on a video for a client, thinking I had everything nailed down. I held off on sending it for feedback, worrying about what they'd think. And guess what? When I finally did send it, they wanted major changes. All that time, all that energy, for nothing. If I had sent it earlier, I would have known their preferences and adjusted accordingly. Failing fast would have saved me so much time. Now, picture this. You're about to launch a project, but instead of diving in full throttle and expecting perfection, you set a timer. You give yourself, say, 2 days to get something out there, whether it's a rough draft of a video, a quick prototype, or even just an outline. Then you send it off for feedback. Does it hurt to hear that it's not perfect? Absolutely. But here's the kicker. Every single failure teaches you what doesn't work. And that, my friend, is invaluable. By embracing the fail fast, fail smart method, you'll free yourself from the trap of perfectionism. You stop wasting time spinning in circles and start moving forward with purpose. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about giving yourself permission to make mistakes and trusting that those mistakes are leading you to the finish line, even if you don't see it immediately. You deserve to reclaim your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. By failing fast, You're taking control of your journey. You're saying, I don't need everything perfect, I need progress. It's not about being careless, it's about being smart with your failures so that they serve you, not hold you back. So go ahead, try it out. Fail fast, fail smart, and get ahead. Number 2, the do less, get more method. What if I told you that doing less could actually get you more? Sounds counterintuitive, right? We're all taught to hustle harder, work longer, and constantly push ourselves to the limit. But what if the real secret to success is the opposite? Yes, you heard me correctly. Do less, get more. Now, I know this might sound like one of those catchy slogans that promises the world, but trust me, this approach could be exactly what you need to start making real progress without burning out. You might be thinking, how could doing less possibly lead to more? Hang in there. I've got a new way of thinking that's about to change how you approach productivity. You know the type. You're working on a big project, trying to juggle multiple tasks at once, checking off your to-do list like a maniac, and feeling completely overwhelmed. The pressure mounts, and before you know it, you're just going through the motions, barely getting anything meaningful done. We've all been there, right? The endless grind, thinking that if we just do a little bit more, we'll finally reach that finish line. But in reality, it's like running in circles. You're busy, yes, but are you really moving forward? Here's the thing, doing more doesn't always lead to better results. It often leads to burnout, frustration, and a whole lot of wasted time. The do less, get more method isn't about being lazy or cutting corners. It's about focusing on what truly matters and eliminating the noise. Instead of spreading yourself thin across countless tasks, you narrow your focus to the few actions that will actually drive your success. Think of it as a laser beam rather than a flashlight. Focused energy is far more powerful. I know this might sound like I'm telling you to slack off, but hear me out. Have you ever noticed that when you focus on fewer things, you actually get better results? Take, for example, a time when you worked on something that required full concentration. Maybe it was a project at work or an important assignment. When you really focused and cut out the distractions, you knocked it out of the park, right? It's the same concept. By intentionally doing less, you give yourself the space to perform at your best. Let me give you a real-life example. Last year, I had a huge client project that required a tight turnaround. I had this massive list of tasks that seemed never-ending, but I realized something. I was working on a ton of small things that didn't really matter in the big picture. Instead of grinding through the whole list, I focused only on the few key tasks that would make the most impact. I cut out the extra fluff, stopped checking my emails every 5 minutes, and just zeroed in on the core deliverables. The result? The client was thrilled with the work, and I finished ahead of schedule. Doing less got me more, a better result, less stress, and more time to focus on what really matters. The do less, get more method isn't just about productivity. It's about reclaiming your peace of mind. Think about it. When you're not constantly chasing after every little thing, you create space for what's truly important. You're no longer overwhelmed by a never-ending list of things to do. You can breathe, focus, and actually enjoy the process of getting things done. This is your chance to stop wasting energy on tasks that don't matter and start channeling your efforts into what truly moves the needle. This approach gives you back your life, your time, and your sanity. By focusing on less, you're actually honoring your own boundaries. You're taking back control of what you spend your energy on. It's about working smarter, not harder, and trusting that by doing less, you're actually getting more in the end. So, go ahead, cut down on the fluff, focus on what matters, and watch how everything falls into place. Your space, your peace, your dignity, all yours for the taking. Number 3, the blame yourself first approach. What if I told you that blaming yourself could actually be the key to unlocking your potential? Now, I know that sounds a bit harsh, right? We're all taught to point fingers at external factors when things go wrong. Bad luck, bad timing, or even bad circumstances. But what if the first step in improving your life, your work, or your relationships isn't blaming others, but blaming yourself first? Yes, trust me on this. It's not about guilt or self-flagellation, but about taking control of your own narrative. Wait, what? You might be thinking. Blame myself first? Isn't that counterproductive? Let me explain. You know the type. You make a mistake at work, or something goes wrong with a project, and it's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking, well, this happened because of that person, or this event, or this decision I had no control over. We've all been there. Playing the blame game is almost second nature when things don't go as planned. But here's the thing. When you point your finger at someone or something else, you're giving away your power. You're saying, it wasn't me. I couldn't do anything about it. And that might feel comforting for a moment, but it doesn't solve anything. Now, imagine this. The next time something goes wrong, you pause for a moment and ask yourself, what part of this situation did I create or allow? Blame yourself first, not in a way that makes you feel bad, but in a way that empowers you to recognize your role in the outcome. Why? Because doing so puts you in control. When you stop playing the victim, you start seeing where you can improve and make changes. It's not about self-punishment, it's about self-awareness. And the moment you own your part, you give yourself the chance to take actionable steps to fix it. Here's how this actually played out in my own life. A while back, I was working on a big project with a tight deadline. Everything was going smoothly until, boom, things fell apart. The team didn't deliver on time, and the client was frustrated. Now, I could have easily pointed fingers at the team or blamed the circumstances, but instead I stopped and thought, what could I have done differently to avoid this? And here's the thing. I realized that by not setting clearer expectations at the beginning, I had set myself up for this failure. Yes, there were external factors at play, but I was responsible for not being more proactive. By blaming myself first, I was able to recognize my own accountability in the situation and learn how to approach the next project differently. The real power of the blame yourself first approach lies in personal growth. It's about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. When you blame yourself first, you stop waiting for others to change. You stop hoping that circumstances will magically improve. Instead, you take action. You say, okay, this is where I can grow. And that, my friend, is liberating. It's empowering to know that no matter what happens around you, you can always choose to improve yourself. The next time you're tempted to point fingers or feel helpless, try this. Pause, reflect, and ask, what part of this situation could I have controlled or improved? By doing this, you'll shift from being a passive observer to an active participant in your own success. And that's where the real transformation happens. Your space, your peace, your dignity. These are the things you can control. And when you do, you step into a version of yourself that's stronger, smarter, and more resilient than ever. Number 4, the reverse progress concept. What if I told you that backtracking could actually be the best way forward? Now, I know that sounds like some kind of paradox, right? We're all taught that progress is all about moving forward, pushing ahead, and never looking back. But what if the real secret to success lies in the opposite? Reverse progress. Yes, hear me out. This might sound a little wild, but sometimes taking a step back is exactly what we need to get ahead. You might be thinking, wait, isn't that just procrastination or giving up? Trust me, it's not. This is about using the power of reflection to accelerate your forward momentum. You know the type. You're working hard, grinding through tasks, trying to climb that never-ending ladder of success, but somehow you're still stuck in the same place. Maybe you're making progress, but it feels like you're just treading water. You're moving, but you're not really getting anywhere. We've all been there, right? The overwhelming feeling of putting in all this effort, yet seeing little return. The constant hustle makes us think we just need to work harder. But what if, instead of more work, the answer was more reflection, more backtracking to better understand what's not working and why? Here's the thing. Reverse progress isn't about retreating, it's about recalibrating. Think of it like this. If you're driving somewhere and you miss a turn, what's the first thing you do? You don't keep going in the wrong direction hoping it'll work itself out. You reverse, get back on track, and then continue forward. That's the same concept. When things aren't working out, it's not about doubling down on effort or just doing more. It's about pausing, looking back, and reflecting on what led you here. By understanding where you've been, you can create a clearer path to where you're going. Let me give you a real-life example. Last year, I was juggling multiple projects and felt like I was barely keeping my head above water. Everything seemed like a blur of endless to-do lists, late nights, and stress. But after a major burnout, I decided to take a step back. I reviewed everything I'd done so far and realized something crucial. I wasn't prioritizing properly. I was putting my energy into tasks that didn't move me closer to my goals. By taking that pause, by reversing my progress, I could see exactly what needed to change. I streamlined my focus, rearranged my priorities, and approached things with a fresh mindset. That pause, that backtracking made all the difference. My productivity skyrocketed, and I actually enjoyed my work more because I wasn't constantly scrambling. The beauty of the reverse progress concept is that it's not about stopping. It's about empowering yourself to grow more intelligently. It's about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. Instead of feeling guilty for taking a step back, you can embrace the process as part of the journey. It's about giving yourself the space to reflect, learn, and adjust. And here's the truth. When you understand your setbacks, you can turn them into setups for success. So, next time you feel stuck or overwhelmed, don't be afraid to reverse progress. Don't be afraid to pause, reflect, and realign. Trust that by taking a step back, you're not losing ground. You're gaining clarity. And that clarity will propel you forward with more strength and purpose than ever before. Your space, your peace, and your dignity, they're yours to reclaim every step of the way. Reverse progress isn't failure. It's the power to move forward with intention and confidence. Number 5, the minimalist failure. Framework. What if I told you that the secret to success might actually be failure, but with less of it? I know. That sounds like a total oxymoron. We've all heard it before. Fail big, fail fast, fail often. But here's the twist. What if instead of failing more, you could fail less and still get all the valuable lessons you need? Yes, you heard that right. It's called the minimalist failure framework. And no, it's not about avoiding failure altogether. Because let's face it, we all know that's impossible. But it's about getting smarter with your failures and doing just enough to learn, adjust, and keep moving forward. Now trust me on this. This is a game changer. You know the type. You've probably had those days, or even weeks, where you feel like everything is going wrong. It's like no matter how hard you try, things just seem to fall apart. You try something new, it doesn't work, and you find yourself back at square one. We've all been there, right? The constant cycle of hitting roadblocks, learning from our mistakes, and trying again. But after a while, you start to wonder, how many times do I need to fail before I get it right? It feels exhausting, doesn't it? And sometimes it's enough to make you question whether failure is even a productive way to learn. What if there was a better way? That's where the minimalist failure framework comes in. It's not about going full throttle into failure every single time. Instead, it's about being intentional with how you approach mistakes. Picture it like this. You want to build a house, but instead of piling up a bunch of bricks and hoping it turns into a solid structure, you start with a blueprint. You build small sections, test them out, and only make adjustments where you absolutely need to. You don't have to keep tearing everything down and starting from scratch. Each failure becomes just a small pivot that moves you in the right direction. This way, you're failing with purpose. Not more failure, just smarter, minimalist failure. Let me give you an example. A few months ago, I started a side project that I was super excited about. At first, it was going great, but then, boom, everything came to a screeching halt. I hit a massive obstacle that I wasn't prepared for, and for a moment, I thought I had completely failed. But instead of spiraling, I decided to adopt the minimalist failure approach. I didn't try to fix everything all at once or waste time wallowing in frustration. Instead, I took a step back, reviewed what was working, what wasn't, and figured out one small thing I could change to get back on track. I didn't give up, but I also didn't dive deeper into failure. It was a small adjustment, and it made all the difference in getting me unstuck and back on course. This framework isn't just about working smarter. It's about protecting your peace. It's about embracing the idea that failure doesn't have to be a grand, destructive event. It can be small, manageable, and still highly effective. Instead of feeling like you're constantly fighting the odds, you start to see failure as a natural part of growth that you can handle, process, and move on from without the emotional baggage. And here's the best part. By minimizing your failures, you gain a better sense of control, which boosts your confidence and mental resilience. It's all about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity without drowning in mistakes. So, the next time you encounter a setback, don't freak out. Don't try to outfail everyone around you. Instead, embrace the minimalist failure framework. It's about knowing when to tweak, when to stop, and when to keep going, all while preserving your energy and focus. Remember, you're in charge of how much you fail, and by being smart about it, you'll go further than you ever thought possible. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are yours to protect, and using the power of minimalist failure is a step toward the success you've always wanted. Number 6. The time-boxed perfection trick. What if I told you that striving for perfection might actually be holding you back from your best work? Sounds counterintuitive, right? But hear me out. The time-boxed perfection trick is one of those unconventional ideas that seems too simple to work, but trust me, it's a game changer. It's all about setting strict time limits for tasks, and in that limited time, you aim for the absolute best you can do, not perfection, but focused excellence. And here's the kicker. You stop once the time's up, even if you're not totally satisfied. I know, it sounds crazy, but trust me, this method could be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. You know the type. You've probably been there yourself, working on a project, obsessing over every tiny detail, tweaking, adjusting, reworking, and feeling like you could always make it just a little bit better. But here's the thing, when does it end? At what point do you stop, step back, and just call it done? It's exhausting, right? The constant push for perfection often keeps us stuck, paralyzed by indecision and overthinking. We end up spending so much time perfecting something that we don't even notice how much of our time is wasted. It feels like the work isn't even getting done, just reworked. So, what if there was a way to break free from this never-ending cycle? Enter the time-boxed perfection trick. It's all about creating a fixed window of time, let's say 45 minutes, where you work on a task or project with full focus and no distractions. During that time, you aim to do your best work, but there's no room for perfectionism. Once that 45 minutes is up, you stop. You might feel like it's not perfect, but it's done. And guess what? That's the point. The beauty of this strategy is that perfection doesn't have to be the goal. What you're doing is creating space for progress, and you're doing it in a way that's sustainable. You're not overworking yourself or draining your energy. Instead, you're accomplishing something solid without getting lost in the details. Let me give you a real-life example. A few weeks ago, I had to create a quick video for a project, and as usual, I started obsessing over every little transition and color correction. I was getting stuck in the weeds, and it felt like I was nowhere close to being finished. That's when I decided to try the time-boxed perfection trick. I set a timer for 45 minutes and told myself, in this time, I'm going to get as close to perfection as I can, without the endless tweaking. It was hard at first, super hard, but something shifted. I was fully present, and I worked with purpose, knowing that the clock was ticking. When the timer went off, I stopped. The video wasn't flawless, but it was definitely good enough, and more importantly, I finished it. And guess what? No one noticed the small imperfections, but they definitely noticed the video was done. Here's the thing. This method doesn't just help you get things done, it's about taking back control. When we're constantly chasing perfection, we're giving away our peace and energy to something that's often out of reach. But when you time-box your work, you're reclaiming your space. You're freeing yourself from the tyranny of just one more tweak and opening up mental space to focus on the next thing. It's about progress, not perfection. And trust me, that shift in mindset will do wonders for your mental clarity and emotional well-being. So, next time you're tempted to tweak endlessly, give the time-boxed perfection trick a try. Set your timer, focus on doing your best in that moment, and then walk away when the time's up. You'll be amazed at how much you can accomplish when perfection isn't the enemy. It's just a stepping stone. Your space, your peace, and your dignity aren't for sale. And by embracing time-boxed perfection, you're protecting all three. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video gave you some fresh insights and practical tools that you can start using right away to set and achieve your goals. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up. It helps so much. And if you want more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we've got plenty more coming your way to help you stay focused and on track. Also, if you know someone who's been struggling with their goals, share this video with them. Let's spread the knowledge and help each other out. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. What goals are you working on, and how can you apply these strategies to make them a reality? Let's build a community of achievers. Remember, goal setting doesn't have to be overwhelming or impossible. It's all about taking small, consistent steps toward what you really want. Keep pushing forward, stay pragmatic, and know that you have everything you need to succeed. See you in the next video.